Brilliant. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another session in our Hello Future Live series. Thanks for joining the call if you're sitting at home today. We're really grateful to have Nichola and Elle with us from Lancaster University, and they're going to be sharing about how to make the most of virtual fairs and those online open days that you might be aware of now. Just to explain a little bit of background, Lancaster University are one of our partners here at Hello Future. And they've got a great presentation prepared, but just before we get onto that, I'll run through a couple of housekeeping points just before I hand over. So any of you tuning in live at the moment, you'll have your mics and cameras off, but do feel free to pop up on the chat, click that chat button, and with any questions or comments that you've got, because it'd be great to answer those live here. And if you are watching this later on Catch Up or Plus One, as I might say on live telling something, you can post any questions in our YouTube or Facebook comments. And if you're watching this in a group, in class, in school or college, and after the session you've maybe got a couple of questions, or maybe the session has prompted a couple of thoughts, you can chat live to a member of the Hello Future team over on our website by clicking chat with us at www.hellofuture.ac.uk. So without further ado, the chat button's there if you need it, and I'll just hand over to Nichola and Elle.
Fabulous, thanks Jess. So hi everyone, I'm Nicola and I'm a Student Recruitment Officer at Lancaster University, and I will be delivering this presentation this evening alongside my colleague Elle. So a little bit about me. I've worked at Lancaster now for just over 2 years in this role, and before working in this role I worked at a huge sixth form in Blackpool called Blackpool Sixth Form College, and that had just over 2,000 students on roll. So I've got lots of experience of advising and giving information and support to students in year 12 and year 13. So hopefully you're going to find this presentation really, really useful, and you're going to enjoy it. So I'm going to pass over to Elle for her to do a quick hello.
Thanks, Nicola. Hopefully I'm coming through. We are having a couple of technical difficulties on my side, but hopefully you guys are able to make out what I'm saying. So my name is Elgen. I'm a student recruitment assistant at Lancaster University alongside Nicola. I started a little bit after Nicola, sort of short of 2 years ago. Again, similar to Nicola, previous to the role, I worked in a large FE college over in Yorkshire, supporting students with their progression into university. I'm also a graduate of Lancaster University, so it's where I studied for my degree. So I'm also happy today to answer any questions about Lancaster if you are listening live to this session.
Okay, thanks, Elle. Now I'm just going to check with Jess. Did that come through okay for you, Jess, or was it my internet that was?
That came through a little bit glitchy there.
Yeah, it did for me
too.
It did for me too. So Elle, for those of you that couldn't quite make out what you were saying, if you just want to put it in the chat. So the plan is that I was going to do the first half of the presentation and Elle was going to take over and do the second part. So we'll try again a little bit later on to see if Elle's internet has hopefully got a little bit better for us. If not, I'll just carry on with the presentation. It's not a problem. But yeah, if you have any questions at all about the content in this presentation this evening, please pop them in the chat and we will answer them towards the end of the presentation. And if you have any questions about progression into HE or any questions about Lancaster University, please just pop them in the chat. That's why we are here this evening, to answer all of your questions about anything to do with your progression into HE. Okay, so we will get started. So these are the topics that we're going to be covering in this presentation this evening. So we're going to have a look at how you can prepare for an online online event, whether it's an open day, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a HE fair. Really, really important to kind of prepare beforehand so that you're getting the best out of these online events. We're then going to have a look at the kind of things you need to be doing whilst at the event. So what kind of questions should you be asking? What kind of things should you be looking for at that event? And then we're going to move on to give you a little bit of information about Lancaster's open days. that are coming up over the summer. And then we're going to lastly finish on offering some help and support moving forward with your progression into HE. So we're going to share with you some really useful website links. So you might want to get your phone out and take a picture of these links, and Elle might be able to pop some in the chat as well if you find that useful. Okay. So when you are thinking about going into university, one of the main things you need to do is think about what is university going to mean to you. Everyone is completely different. People choose to go to university for completely different reasons, but some students don't really think about this question. There's lots of schools I've been into and asked students why, and they think, oh, I haven't really thought about this. So it's just a little activity really for you to sit back and just have a little think about why you're choosing to go to university. What is that experience going to mean to you? I graduated from university now 15 years ago, so you're probably all working out my age now. It was a very long time ago, but the reason I decided to go to university was because of my career. I needed a degree, a certain degree, to be able to go into the career that I wanted to go into. So I wanted to be a primary school teacher. So you have to have a degree in teaching to be able to go into primary school teaching. As you can tell, I am no longer a primary school teacher. I did it for a year, and then I just completely changed my career and changed my pathway. And it was through the experiences of going to university and getting a degree that my pathway actually changed. Another reason I decided to go to university was because of the freedom and independence. I was so ready when I was 18 to take that next step into adulthood. I just couldn't wait to have that freedom and independence of living away from home and meeting new people and just really getting involved in all the activities and the new experiences that come with living and studying at university. So this was really just for you to take a step back and have a little think about what university will mean to you and why you're deciding to go to university. So when you are researching universities, one of the main things I would definitely recommend that you do is actually write a list of all the things that you want that university to have. So what is important to you? What does that university have to have for you to want to study there? And again, everybody is going to be different. Everyone is going to have their own reasons. Now, it's really important for you to have the confidence to have your own reasons. So it doesn't need to be your friends' reasons. It doesn't need to be any of your family reasons. It has to be your reasons. And if you are choosing your reasons, whatever university you end up at next year or whenever you decide to go and study for a degree is going to be the right university for you, because you've chosen the right reasons. Those reasons are for you. So these are a few examples here. I won't go through every single one of them. So I'll just choose a select for you to give you an example, but someone's list, right at the top of their list, it might be the course structure or the content of the course that's really important to them. Maybe the modules, they have to offer certain modules to want to go to that university. Another student, it might be that they want guaranteed accommodation if they put the university as a firm choice or an insurance choice. That might be right at the top of their list. Another student might be really interested in the scholarships and bursaries that a university offers. So again, that might be at the top of their list. And everybody's list is going to be completely different. So if you haven't done this already, please make sure you're doing it when looking and researching at universities, because this information is going to be so important when you are attending those online open days, when you're attending those webinars, when you're speaking to academics, when you're speaking to student ambassadors, because you'll make sure that you are researching the right things and you're asking the correct questions to ensure that university is ticking everything on your list. One thing that was really important to me was location. So I come from Blackpool and I actually went to a teaching university in Lancaster City. It's called the University of Cumbria. And I knew from the start that I wanted to be further enough away from home to feel like I had that independence and that freedom from moving away from home. But I also knew that I wanted to go home and have those really important Sunday roast dinners. I didn't go home every Sunday, but it was just something that I knew I would probably miss. So I wanted a university that was, you know, either an hour or an hour and a half away. So any universities that were further away, I just completely crossed them off my list. I didn't even look at them because they were too far for me. Whereas some of my friends, they went to university in Brighton, some went to London. They didn't care about the location. And they just thought, I'll come home in the holidays. But yeah, I was really happy with the location. It took me an hour on the bus, so I could go at home at the weekends if I wanted to, or my parents would come up during the week and take me out for a really luxurious dinner at a nice restaurant that you don't tend to get when you're a student. So that was quite nice. So these are some other reasons here, like graduate employment rate, university league tables. You might want to go to a top 10 university, and you might not bother looking at any other universities at all because you know that is what's important to you. University facilities might be important. So what facilities do the subject offer? Are they brand new facilities? Are they state-of-the-art facilities? Are they open to you 24/7? How much access do you get to those facilities? Are you an avid kind of football player, or you're into your sports? Do you want to make sure they've got those sports societies? Or do you want to be really close to a really big sports centre where you can go swimming or rock climbing? So again, it's just making your list really of what's important to you, and that will really help you when attending these online events into what you're going to research and what questions you're going to ask. So this is basically what I've just said. So decide what you're looking for. So why do you want to go to university? What are you wanting to achieve from university, and what is important to you? These are just 3 questions that are really important to take a step back when you are researching those universities, to make sure the ones you're researching are going to be kind of the universities that you want to go to. Really important then when you are researching universities and you're trying to get your top 5 universities or your top 10 universities together, it's really important to look at least 2 different pieces of information whilst researching. So yes, go on the university website, it's fantastic, speak to the academics, speak to the ambassadors, but then it's really important to look at independent sources of research. So you might want to have a look at the different awards that the university has gained. So maybe you want to go to a TEF Gold University or TEF Silver or TEF Bronze. You might want to have a look at the different rankings of where the subjects sit in the league tables, or where the university sits as a whole in a league table. One source of independent research, which is fantastic for students, is the National Student Survey. Now, this is a survey that students fill in their very last year of university. So they are very honest about their experience of that university because they're leaving. So I would definitely recommend having a look at the National Student Survey and looking at the students' experience. They'll get asked questions on like the academic support, the facilities at the university, their accommodation. So it will give you a really well-rounded view of the university and what the actual students experienced whilst being there. So what to do before an online event? So what do open days and HE fairs look like? So obviously since the pandemic, universities have obviously put lots of resources online. So you've probably already taken part in a few of the online events that universities are offering. But the main big events are the UCAS fairs that are online now. You've got the UK UniSearch fairs that are also online. And then you might have your own individual school or sixth form or college HE fairs as well. And they'll come in a huge range of different platforms and a huge range of different events. So these are just a few examples here of the different events that you can attend. And I would definitely recommend attending multiple different events, so you're getting lots and lots of experience of that university. So go on their live chat channels, speak to their ambassadors, speak to their academics, attend the live webinars as well that are being run by their academics and student ambassadors, ask them lots of questions. Some HE fairs might be a one-day event, some might be across multiple days, and some might be on new platforms as well. So where you need to start when looking at online events is make a list of all the online events that you'd like to attend, just to make sure you're not missing any of them. And because there's so many online events, it's really important that you are making that list and kind of highlighting your favourite ones that you want to go to. And a great thing about the pandemic and the fact that universities have had to convert all of their kind of resource and their information and support online is that you can get so much information now from universities that wasn't there before the pandemic because we hadn't needed to, because we did everything in face-to-face. So it could be that you're looking at a university in Brighton and before the pandemic you thought, actually it's a little bit too far for me to travel for an open day, whereas now you can go on their website, you can attend their online open days, you can attend their webinars, speak to their academics, speak to their student ambassadors and get a real feel for that university. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, in the new academic year, you might then decide, actually, I'm loving this university, loving the feel of it. I'm going to go and visit it. And that might end up being the university that you decide to go to. So just make sure that you are taking up all the opportunities that the universities are offering online at the moment. Really important that you do register in advance. And we'll talk about the importance of that on the next slide. UCAS, they do have a list of all the UK universities who are offering online open days, and there's going to be a lot over the summer period now. So I definitely recommend going on UCAS, making the lists of the open days and the online ones that you want to go to, just to make sure that you're not going to miss out on any that are important to you. So really important to register in advance. And this is because the university will send out lots of online materials for you to read beforehand. Make sure that once you've signed up, make sure you're receiving emails from them, because they will definitely be sending you emails about that event. If you don't receive any, make sure you get in contact and let them know you're registered and you haven't received any communications from them yet. It might be that they are giving you instructions on how to sign up or how to actually log into their event. Really important that you read all of the instructions before the day. Especially if it's an online open day that might be from 10 till 2, you're logging in at 10 to 10 and you've not logged on before and you're having problems and you can't get on, and then you might miss a really important webinar that started at 10 o'clock that you were really looking forward to going to. So definitely just make sure that you read the email, you read the instructions, and if you give you that option to kind of log in before the event goes live, make sure you're doing that as well, just to make sure that everything is working properly and you have the correct access rights. So preparing for an online event, I am going to try and pass over to Elle now. We'll see if her internet has decided to work for her. If not, I will just carry on, Elle. So I'll let you know if you're not coming through properly, Elle.
All right, so is this coming through okay for you?
It is at the moment, so we'll keep going, see how we get.
Let's give this a go. Try a device everyone, so I am kind of, that's why it might be a little confusing if you're looking at who's taking part, but we'll get with this then if it's coming through okay. So Nick's kind of started to touch a little bit on what you can be doing to prepare for that online event, in terms of making sure that you are logged in and you know how to access it and you've kind of read through what they've sent you. Nick, are you able to go to the next slide?
Yeah.
Brilliant, thanks. So what else you can be doing in order to help prepare is, just like you would if you were coming to the event in real life, you would do a little bit of time at looking, what's on offer day, and make sure you kind of know which things you want to go to. So you might want to block out it in your diary or a calendar, whether that's on paper or in your phone, something like that, so that you know for definite that you've got that event that day, and that way you don't make do other things when you know you wanted to attend that open day. As I've said, there's going to be lots of different talks that are happening as part of that open day or as part of that HE fair. So again, make sure you've had through what's going to be on offer that day and made a list of the things that you want to go and listen to, because not all the talks are going to be things that you need to know about. For example, a lot of them will be about the specific courses that are on offer. So of course, if there's any courses that you aren't wanting to study, you don't need to go and attend those talks. But the ones that are relevant to the talks that you're considering are obviously the ones you want to make sure that you attend. There might also be more general talks that happen as part of an open day or as part of a HE fair that, again, you might want to particularly listen to because maybe you're not sure about accommodation and that applies to you. But maybe if you're thinking about staying at home, then you might not be attending the accommodation talk. So make sure you know, just as you would if you were coming in person, which of those talks, or if it's a hay fair, which of universities you want to go and speak to. It might be a good idea to kind of have somewhere where you're saving all the information about this day. Again, if you're an old-fashioned person like me, that might be on paper in a notepad where you make a note of, you know, which talks it is and the information and things that you learn from those sessions. Or it might be an online folder on your computer somewhere, possibly taking screenshots of useful information that you've come across or putting it together document of notes so that you can go back to it and refer to it and know what you learned from that day, because they very, just like these sessions, very information heavy. So it is a good idea to kind of make notes as you go along and have somewhere to kind of keep that information safe. It's also worth looking at what information can you just get by going on the university website itself. Often things like a virtual tour might be available. We do also have them as you can sign up to separate and take part in a live stream campus tour from the comfort of your own home. So again, if there's information or out on the website, that then leads you to what information isn't there. And that's then the information you know that you want to ask about when you've got that chance at that event. So take advantage of having a look beforehand so that you kind of have an idea of what things you might want to ask at the event. There's a few other extra things that you can do as well to help prepare. Some of these events, there might be recorded content as part of it. So you might not have to see it there and then on the day. You might be able to access it later. This can be really helpful if you've got a couple of events that you want to go to that are happening at the same time. But make sure you know how long that content is then going to be available for if it is recorded, because again, you don't want to rely on it being recorded and then you didn't tune in before it disappeared off the website. So be aware to find out if the stuff is being recorded in the first place, and if so, for how long can you access it. It's also quite useful, just like you might have done if you the in-person open day when they were happening, to have family or friends kind of take part in the event with you. This is really great because if you're anything like me, I always forget the really good questions to ask. And I know certainly when I was looking at university, my mum and dad definitely asked some really good ones that I'm really glad they were there to ask on my behalf. So again, sometimes it's good if you can get them involved. Whether that's family or friends, you know, if you're both, if you've got a group of mates and you're all looking at Lancaster or looking at whatever university it might be, again, it can be useful to kind of do these things together. Or even if you can't do that, it might be just useful having a conversation with them beforehand, and they might be able to put forward some ideas and some things that you might want to ask about when you then attend yourself. Something, obviously, we are all very aware of the COVID and the pandemic that is happening at the moment, and it's understandable that you want to know how that might impact your studies. Unfortunately, at the moment, universities really don't have a lot of information on this because it's very much directed by the government and any health restrictions that they put into place. And I'm afraid that I don't think the government are quite aware of what might come. We're all hoping that we're going to be returning much more to normal following June 21st, and universities are very much hoping that they're going to be able to welcome students back onto their campus to join us in person for their studies and sort of remain and continue studies as they had done before the pandemic. So it's understandable to ask these questions, and feel free to ask those questions about the university. But it's very likely that they will have some information about the pandemic already advertised on their website. So if you do have questions about COVID and how that was dealt with by the university and what the university expects to happen, again have a look on the website to see if that information is already there. Because hopefully by the time you guys come, COVID won't be a big thing that's taking part. So do try to ask about other things beyond just the pandemic. Nick's kind of already preempted this a little bit by kind of getting you to think about what you want to get out of a university. So do think about what questions you want to ask and what information you want to get out of the event. The best events are always the ones where you then come away learning the things that you wanted to learn and knowing the information you wanted to. And the easiest way to make sure you get that from an event is by having those questions ready to go before you go in, and then taking part in the things that then allow you to ask those questions and get those answers. So we've got a couple of examples here of things that you might want to ask. So remember, university isn't just about the course that you're going to go study. So do ask more widely about the university life. If you are aware that perhaps with money, you might need a part-time job, or at least you know it's a useful thing to take part in, ask the university about what opportunities there is available, what support do they have to help you with getting a part-time job. If you are thinking about, moving away for university, again, obviously there's going to be a lot of questions around the accommodation. Something that not all universities can offer is a guaranteed place. Lancaster is lucky enough that if you place us as your firm choice university, we do guarantee you on-campus accommodation for your first year, but not all universities can offer that. So again, you might want to ask that question. And it might even just be as simple as kind of, what's it like over the weekend, particularly if you're moving away for university. Again, think it's not just a Monday to Friday thing. You are living there all the time. So, what do students do over the weekend as well? There are a few more questions as well that you might want to ask, particularly if you get the opportunity to speak to current students. If you get to speak to them and they are on the courses that you're considering, then a great one to ask is the amount of contact time. So how much are you in lectures or seminars for your course? Because this is very course specific. So you do want to ask this question to the students who are doing the course that you're looking to study at. Again, you might want to ask more specifically about the learning and how that takes place and how they found it. Again, bear in mind that obviously a lot of the learning has had to change because of COVID, and it's unlikely that is how it will remain as we come out of the pandemic. You might want to ask them as well about the city or the area that's nearby to the university. Again, particularly if you're going to be moving away somewhere. That was one of the big draws for me for Lancaster. I liked the fact that it had a smaller city attached to it. I didn't want a big, massive city. That felt a bit too overwhelming for me when I was aged 18, having never gone away from home. So again, do remember to kind of go beyond the university to kind of the area that you might be then moving to and kind of find out what that's like. Again, really big thing for a lot of students, and it's a lot of the reason why people want to go to university. So then ask about the support that there is in place for it if it is a big draw for why you want to go. Again, like we said, the course is a massive part of university, so of course you are going to ask questions about it as well. You might want to ask things like about the academic support that is available. A lot of people forget that at university, even though you are independent, there is support in place that you can access. So you might want to know what that looks like. The size of the cohort might be important to you, whether you're on a large course or a smaller course. Nick mentioned this already, the facilities that are linked to your course as well. What access do you have to them and what are they like? An assessment as well might be a key thing for you, particularly if there are types of assessment that suit you better. You might want to find out kind of what the weighting is of exams compared to coursework and what that coursework might look like as well. So that gives you a good idea of kind of some of those questions. Obviously, you will have your own ideas as to what you want to find out. That was purely just to give you an idea as to some of the things to kind of get the ball rolling for you. But on the day, go back to, what are your priorities? What are your reasons for wanting to go to university? And make sure that that university is then going to deliver those for you. So like I said, if it's about what you can achieve afterwards in terms of a career and a job, ask about the support, ask about what's available, ask about what previous students have gone on to do. If it's more about the social activities that university offers, then again, ask about those and find out and make sure they're the opportunities that you would like. Have those questions ready, because if you're anything like me, again, you'll kind of have loads to think about and loads that you want answers to. And if you've not written them down, you will forget to ask them and you won't take that opportunity. And then the event will have finished and you'll have missed out on kind of getting some of that key information that you wanted. Sometimes they might not be able to answer a question straight away, and that's completely fine. In those cases, often a university, whoever it is, will then give you some contact details that you can use to then chase it up. Or if you have further questions as well, they often advertise a department's contact details that you can use. If that is the case, it's a really good idea to make a note of these, or to make a note of where you can later access that. So for example, if it's advertised on their website, because again, you might have, thought you've got your list of questions, thought you knew everything you wanted to ask. And then later on, something comes up and you think, oh, I didn't ask that. And then going back to those contact details will then allow you to then get that question answered. There might also be some documents or different things that you can access. Again, if you can get your own copies of them, it's a really good idea to do that, because it is going to be quite an information heavy event that you're joining. So sometimes it is just easier to kind of keep track of these things and be able to go back to them when you're kind of a bit more refreshed. Okay, I'm just now going to touch on online open day and sort of talk you through kind of what to expect if you are looking at Lancaster. Even if you're not looking at Lancaster, this is just a good way to kind of get an idea of what one of these online open days might look like for you. So basically with the open days, what universities are trying to do and what Lancaster will be trying to do is show you what it's like to be a student at that university and just basically give you a taste for what that university experience could be like. So it's likely that you'll get to speak to some current students and be able to ask them your questions, but also interact with the academics. So the lecturers that work at that university that are on that course, and that, if you did go on to study there, would be the ones that were then teaching you once you arrived. So they're likely to be very interactive in that they'll often have Q&A options at the end of their sessions, allowing you to ask all those great questions that you've just spent all that time kind of preparing and knowing what you want to get. But they're also likely to deliver subject content in the form of kind of taster sessions or taster lectures to you. So they're a really great way to find out, if you are interested in that course that you thought you were interested in by attending that taster lecture and thinking at the end of that, did I find that interesting? Could I see myself studying this further and learning more about it? There might also be more general sessions. So talking about the student life, this will cover things like the different societies that you can join, study abroad, the different opportunities that are available that aren't within the course that are extra that you might want to get involved. They might talk about kind of placement opportunities as well. And basically there'll just be lots of vision that talks you through what to expect being a student at that university. And they are a really great way. They're not obviously, exactly like being able to come onto campus and see it in person and walk around. But there will also be kind of campus tours available that you can live stream. So from the comfort of your own home, you can get an idea what to expect from that open day and what that university kind of looks like. So they do come really close to showing you what the university experience is like at that particular institution. So how it works for us is we have a live webinar schedule. So there'll be lots of different live webinars that are happening. As I say, these will be a mixture of kind of linked to courses, so taster lectures delivered by academics, and then more general sessions that talk about the university more generally. So they might focus on topics like accommodation, like the sports that exist, and like the societies that exist at the university as well. So again, because at Lancaster, these are going to be live and they won't be recorded, you do need to make sure you know which ones you wanted to join to make sure you're not out on that information. There is likely to be some downloadable content that you can make a note of for later, that you can store away and look at in more detail later on and reflect on kind of after the event. And as I've mentioned, there most likely to be some live streamed campus tours as well. So this is where is there on campus live, taking you on a tour around, and you see the footage of them walking around live as it's happening. And there'll also be another ambassador that's then joining from home that will be able to add in a bit of extra information as the other ambassador takes you around the campus. I've seen these, and a great way to kind of see the university. They definitely kind of show you what it looks like, and our ambassadors do so well in kind of dealing with it being live and taking you round as if you are on that campus tour. I've got some examples here of the general live webinars that I keep mentioning. I talk about a bit more about the application process. At Lancaster, we are a collegiate university, so we talk about our colleges and what that means and what that looks like. Student life, as I've said, and there might also be some information about kind of some of the facilities that we have here on campus, like our library and kind of how that works, and some of the student support systems that we have in place as well. So just to get these in your diary, if you are in Lancaster, so in the summer we are having our both open days online. So they are taking place on Saturday the 26th of and then Saturday the 10th of July. They're not off days, so you do still get your Saturday afternoons. We aren't trying to take everything away from you there, but they will give you enough time to kind of get a good idea for the university. So if you are interested in these, as Nick has said, it's a good idea to register in advance so you make sure that you have all the information that you need so that you know how to access them on the day. And you can do that by just going to our website. If you were to search for Lancaster University Open Days, you would find the link and be able to book on to these. We are hoping that later on, so come September, we might be able to have some on-campus open days. Again, this will be according to the government advice at the time, whether we're allowed to go ahead with that. I would certainly encourage you to take part in the online events. Don't wait out to see if we get the on-campus ones, because you still will get a lot from even if you've attended both the online and then hopefully later the on-campus ones. So get signed up if you are interested in Lancaster. Even if you're not interested in Lancaster, sometimes it can be a good idea to just sign up to an online open day just to get an idea as to what they are like as well, and almost kind of give it a practice go and find out. And you might surprise yourself. It might turn out actually that university is more suited to you than you thought it. Okay, I'm now going to pass to Nick to talk through kind of help and support.
Brilliant, thanks, Elle. So I'm just going to share with you now some really useful links kind of moving forward in terms of open days and online events and where you can find the most up-to-date information. So obviously you can see the first link at the top there, that's the Lancaster Undergraduate Open Days. That's the link that will take you to our open day information. But as Elle said, if you literally just type it in Google, Lancaster University Open Days, it will take you straight to the page that you need there. The Complete University Guide also has a list of all the different open days on there. If you wanted to go to multiple open days, it's a good idea to go to a website that offers all the universities and all the different open days that the universities are offering, so you can start making your list of the ones you want to go to. UCAS also have a list if you'd prefer to use that website as well. And then Uni Taster Days is also a great resource for you, because that's where lots of universities will upload information on their open days, but also information on all their online events that are coming up. So it could be webinars with their academics, Q&As with their student ambassadors, like support webinars. The webinars that me and Elle are involved in delivering and supporting. So very much like this webinar this evening, but then we also do lots of webinars on student finance, staying well at university, student life and accommodation, personal statements. So again, Uni Taster Days is a fantastic resource for you to have a look at all the different online events that universities are offering at the moment. So just to end on, Lancaster has a fantastic resource for you to find out lots of information about Lancaster University through their current students. So if you have any questions at all after this webinar today, whether it's about the Lancaster Open Day or whether it's about studying at Lancaster, or any questions at all you have about Lancaster, or even just general questions about progression into HE, our student ambassadors will be more than happy to help support you and answer those questions. So you can see the web link at the bottom, which is www.lancaster.ac.uk/chat. So if you go on that web page, you're able to actually filter the student ambassadors you want to talk to. So if you want to talk to some that are from a certain location, so if you are, I keep saying Brighton, I don't know why Brighton's in my head at the moment, but for example, if you're from Brighton and you wanted to speak to student ambassadors from Brighton as well, you could filter the students and it would pull out all the students from Brighton. Again, if you're from London, you can do the same thing. Again, if you're from the Northwest, wherever you're from, you'll be able to filter and see if there are any ambassadors on there from where you are. You can also filter the subjects. So if you're really interested at a certain subject at Lancaster, you can filter by subject. So for example, you just type in mathematics and it will pull out all the students that are currently studying mathematics that are on that web page, and you can ask them any questions at all about mathematics at Lancaster. We do also have another fantastic resource on our website that is managed by our digital ambassadors. So you can see the web link at the bottom there, and there's lots and lots of different resources to help you find out about life at Lancaster University through the eyes of a current student. So they'll talk about different events that are going ahead in Lancaster that they've been to. They'll talk about study abroad, and they'll talk about the top 10 places to eat in Lancaster. So it just gives you a real good feel of what it's like to be a student living on campus and also living in the city. And they also give lots of information about the local area and different events that they attend in the local area. So I would definitely recommend having a look at that resource if you might be interested in studying at Lancaster. So we do have lots of upcoming online events as well to really help with you with your progression into HE. So we've got lots of events that are run by our academics. So you can see that arts and social sciences are having an event tomorrow. Is that right? Is it the 27th tomorrow? Tomorrow, and then we've got lots and lots of different events coming up in June as well. Some that are run by myself and Elle's team, some that are run by our accommodation team as well. Some that are run by our student ambassadors as well. So you can see we've got a Unibuddy live on the 3rd of June, and this is a live Q&A with our current students. So if you've got any questions at all, you can actually go and speak to our current students on the 3rd of June. We've also got a live stream campus tour coming up that Elle's already spoken to you about. That's on the 6th of June. And then we've got some more academic sessions coming up. We've got one coming up from LUMS, which is Lancaster University Management School. So lots and lots of events coming up in June, and there's more coming up in July as well. So if you did want to check out our online webinars that are coming up, our link at the bottom to this is here at the bottom of the page. So it's our Connect page that you would need to go to. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found this session really useful and really helpful, and hopefully you've taken something away from this session that you're going to take now to any online event that you are going to be attending over the next couple of months. I'm just going to see if we've had any questions. Okay, fabulous. So we've had one question here that says, if you can't attend an online open day on that day, will they be recorded and available on the website? Very, very good question. And I think the best thing to do is the open days that you're interested in going to online, email the university, because every single university is completely different. So send them an email, tell them what sessions you're interested in, and ask them whether these sessions are going to be recorded, and they'll be able to let you know. There are multiple open days online going ahead, so we've got 2 over the summer, so if you can't make one, you might be able to make the other. So I'll just double check whether there are multiple open days going ahead online over the summer, just in case. If you can't make one, you might be able to make the other. But yeah, definitely email the universities directly and see if they will be recording the webinars that they're offering. But yeah, great question. Thank you for that. If there isn't any other questions, obviously we'd just like to say thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we wish you lots of luck in your last couple of months in year 12, if you're in year 12, and wishing you lots of luck with your progression into HE, in whatever you decide to do and whatever university you decide to go to. And yeah, so lots of luck, and just take care, everyone.
Brilliant. Thank you guys so much for that. I've just quickly popped in the chat some of the links that were mentioned today. So if you've got some extra time after this, I'd recommend just checking out some of those links, especially to Lancaster's open days. I feel that was a really great summary, and you've also got some great events, online events, to practice those tips. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. And for those watching in post, I'll put all those links to Lancaster University's website and everything that these guys have referenced today in the YouTube description. The next session in our Hello Future Live series is Study Skills with Edge Hill University, and that takes place the week after half term, so Monday the 7th of June. If you're interested, check out the website. And finally, we'll send a follow-up email to thank you for coming along, and also quick evaluation forms. If you've got any feedback about these live sessions, do let us know about those. So I guess that's everything from us here. Thank you again to Nicola and Elle and Lancaster University for everything you brought today. And to those on the other side of the screen for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks everyone. Best of luck with your futures.